Do you feel like he should be penalized? And if so, what should that penalty be?
Yeah, I just don't know how. I just don't know how. Because what can you do to a coach outside of firing him? I don't really know what you could do.
We take money from players all day long.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. I've never seen a coach not be paid.
No, what I'm saying is we always have the opportunity to set new precedents, right?
Oh.
Anytime we have a new situation, we can always set new precedents. And so when players do things that damage the reputation of the league, they get fined.
Shedeur Sanders finally heard his name called on day 3. The former Colorado quarterback was taken in the 5th round to the Cleveland Browns, but this moment unfortunately was likely overshadowed by a few frat boys that decided to prank call him on day 1. One of them being none other than the son of Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich. We'll get into that in just a minute, but Rodney, I want to get your reaction to Shedeur having to wait to day 3 to hear his name called.
I'm gonna embody Shedeur's sentiment and just be happy for him.
Yeah,
I was so blown away by his spirit, by the spirit of his entire family, the fact that they were unbothered, unscathed by the events that took place and him seeing himself drop all the way to pick number 144. That man was acting as if he was the 3rd pick in the draft. Like, that boy's spirit is different. Yeah. It's a different kind of energy, and you could tell like he has a different level of faith. And for anybody to deal with the situation that he went through this past weekend in the draft, his whole life waiting for this moment to take place, if anybody could have handled it with a level of grace and appreciation, it is number 2, Shedeur Sanders. And I'm ecstatic for him and his family, man.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was an amazing moment, like you mentioned. I think a lot of people were hoping that he didn't show that level of grace and he didn't show that level of gratitude and appreciation, and he proved them wrong, and he's going to have to just continue to prove people wrong. The Cleveland Browns have a lot of quarterbacks in the room. They drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 4th round? I don't know, whatever. They drafted.
We're not worried about him. We're not worried.
You also have Joe Flacco, and you have Kenny Pickett also in the room. So he's coming in. He's going to have to compete. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Shedeur. Shiloh also got an undrafted free agent deal to the Buccaneers, so he'll get to be with Todd Bowles.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that quarterback room. I want to just talk about that for a second. We're not worried about Dylan Gabriel. Obviously, we are aware that Shedeur Sanders is a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel right now today. Joe Flacco, Jersey legend, love Joe Flacco, but he's long in the tooth. He probably has another year left. And Kenny Pickett is Kenny Pickett. So I really feel like Shedeur Sanders actually has an opportunity to be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns at some point. Obviously not right out of the gate, but at some point in the not too distant future, he will have a chance to lead this team. And I think Shedeur Sanders' energy and his spirit, the one that we saw on draft day 3, is going to permeate that locker room, right? Especially because he's the antithesis of Deshaun Watson. Like, this is a dude that people like. Whereas GMs and NFL owners might not subscribe to the culture that he embodies, the people of Cleveland, and that's a specific city of Cleveland, and the players on that roster are going to look at that man walk into that locker room on day 1 and be like, oh, I'm drawn to this. Because he's a magnet. He's a magnet, bro. And I think if his suffering, wait until day 3, put him in a position to be in the right spot. I gotta take again a note from his level of faith and think that he was placed right where he was supposed to be.
I hope so, because this is a team that passed up on him quite a few times in the draft, and so I'm just really curious. Of course, their general manager didn't really have a lot to say about why they waited to the 5th round to pick him.
They ain't look happy either. Did you see their faces?
He didn't. I don't know what they got going on, but again, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in the preseason. I think everybody's gonna be waiting to see how Shedeur plays come July and August. But let's get to the controversial, the knuckleheads, right? So we all saw the clip. Who posted it? I don't know, but we all saw the clip of these 2 kids from Ole Miss prank calling Shedeur during day 1. And unfortunately, Shedeur was extremely excited to talk to whoever he thought he was talking to, and comes to find out they're prank calling him. Now, this is not the first time that, people have been prank called during the draft. We saw Cooper DeJean last season. Also, I think Isaiah Bond was allegedly prank called this year as well. But we actually got to see the video from the other side, from the prankster's point of view. Like, I don't know what they had going on. Anyways, it happens to be Jeff Ulbrich's son, right? And I think what's so crazy, before I even get into the statements that were released, Deion Sanders is so synonymous with the Atlanta Falcons. And so for it to have been the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons, I know Raheem Morris is like, really? Because Shedeur did not release, this is what they're alleging, that Shedeur did not release this particular phone number to just anybody. It was only given to NFL staff, coaches, front office people, general managers.
He got the phone the day before.
Right. And this was a number that only NFL personnel had. So not only is your dad the defensive coordinator at the Atlanta Falcons, you also went through his personal stuff to get the phone number. Y'all going down. You going down. Okay. So Jax is his name. Jax is his name. He looks like a lame. And he goes to Ole Miss, and that says everything I need to know. So he says, on Friday night, I made a tremendous mistake. Shedeur, what I did was completely inexcusable, embarrassing, and shameful. I'm so sorry that I took away from your moment. It was selfish and childish. I could never imagine getting ready to celebrate one of the greatest moments of your life, and I made a terrible mistake and messed with that moment. Thank you for accepting my call earlier today. I hope you find it in your heart to forgive me. At Shedeur Sanders.
You know what I took away from that? Shedeur Sanders' spirit is different. I don't give a damn about Jax, right? Like, back at his frat house, back at Ole Miss, he's still going to be praised, and the people are going to still walk by him and laugh, and I'm sure he's still laughing in private. But the one thing I took away from that was that in the face of such adversity, in the face of so many people attempting to break this man's spirit, this boy Shedeur Sanders still had a forgiving heart. I think that, like, we talk about character.
He could have cussed them out. Like, I seen him do some boys that was talking trash last season.
On the field. Yeah, on the field. No. But that, and so that's the thing that I think when these flags, these red flags come up about Shedeur Sanders and they talk about character, like, how do we define character? Like, because at times it feels like he's being judged for culture and not necessarily character, because the character of the man, from all things that I've seen, and of course I haven't been in those meetings and interview rooms, but by all accounts, it seems like this is a young man with the head firmly on his shoulders, one who's rooted in faith. And you can tell on the football field, he's never out of it. He ain't, like, his spirit don't break. And he should be praised for that. And so I don't give a damn about Jax, right? Like, it's only but so much, like, cool kid. We appreciate it. But I'm just proud of Shedeur, man.
Okay, now let's go to the Falcons side of this, because the Falcons was like,
hold on. And also, again, how come we haven't seen any other prank videos? Like, where are the other?
We saw Cooper DeJean's. I don't know if Cooper had.
I'm talking about this year.
Oh, this year. No, we did see Isaiah Bond. I don't know if it's legit or not, but there is a clip of a guy, he looks like a frat boy too, pranking Isaiah Bond, and you can hear Isaiah allegedly on the phone. So I have seen that on social media, but I'm not sure if that's real or not, but I have seen that.
Okay.
I don't know why these kids getting bold. Okay, so the Atlanta Falcons said that Jax unintentionally, came across the draft contact phone number for Shedeur Sanders off an open iPad while visiting his parents' home and wrote the number down to later conduct a prank call. Jeff Ulbrich was unaware of the data exposure or any facets of the prank and was made aware of all of the above after the fact. Of course, it says the Atlanta Falcons don't condone this behavior. Send our sincere apologies to Shedeur and his family.
How do you feel about that statement? You're a Falcons fan.
That's what I said earlier. I'm just like, Deion Sanders was the Atlanta Falcons for a minute, right? That famous clip of him talking about, this is my house, I built this. He's talking about the Falcons. He's talking about the Georgia Dome, right? And so for it to have come from this organization, I just feel like it just hits harder. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think that Raheem Morris is going to go for this. Jeff Ulbrich is a renowned coach not only in the NFL, but also at the collegiate level, this is what everybody's going to be talking about this now.
Do you feel like he should be penalized? And if so,
Yeah,
what should that penalty be?
I just don't know how. Because what can you do to a coach outside of firing him? I don't really know what you could do.
We take money from players all day long.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. I've never seen a coach not be paid.
No, what I'm saying is we always have the opportunity to set new precedents, right?
Oh.
Anytime we have a new situation, we can always set new precedents. And so when players do things that damage the reputation of the league, they get fined. And we see that on a collegiate level sometimes. We see coaches get suspended for, 3-4 games for whatever incident or infraction that gets imposed upon a university. And so this could be an opportunity to make sure that these kinds of things don't happen going forward.
Yeah.
Because it's not right, bro. Like, I'm sitting here waiting for the moment of a lifetime, and your little dumbass is playing on my phone. I beat you. Stop playing with me. Bro.
Right. And I think that's the thing, too. You have so many people that clearly are against Shedeur. It's like, well, it happens every year. We see this happen every year. The difference is this was literally somebody from inside. The call was coming from inside the house, right? So unfortunately, Roger Goodell is going to have to step up and say, like you said, he's going to have to make a move because this breach came from inside of the NFL.
This is how I know the youth are lost. Because growing up, we used to do prank phone calls too, but I would never imagine recording it and put it out for the world to see. Like, I'm gonna do my Dennis the Menace stuff without eyeballs. I'm not looking for the clout or the recognition of being like ha ha ha. But this is just the times that we live in. Yes, people celebrate moments of ignorance, and it's forever and always in his community, he will be regarded as the guy who prank called Shedeur Sanders. And for some people, just by virtue of that incident, they'll forever think that he's some level of cool. And now, whenever he graduates from Ole Miss, he probably was going to be in position to do whatever he wanted to do. But now there's going to be a cult of people who are going to, look at him and want to be a part of his world. And maybe his numbers go up on social media and it's all of these different things. And it's very frustrating because the play, how it plays out, and like behind closed doors what's actually happening and how people actually feel. And I just...
Yeah, and as long as Jeff Ulbrich has a job, Jax will have a job. So if he wants to get into coaching, he'll always have a job.
Yeah, we got to get back to having like fades. I need people to square up. He should have to square up.
No, he would be scared. He is so scared. Like, I bet, I could not imagine how scared that kid was.
Violations come with penalties, man. When you violate, you should be penalized or put in a position to have to defend yourself physically. And I'll leave it at that. But shout out to Shedeur, man. One last time. Just I'm so amazed and I'm so inspired, man, by not just his spirit, even of Shiloh. You need a brother like Shiloh on your team all weekend long. He wasn't even thinking about himself. It was all about Shedeur. All he kept saying was positivity, words of positivity and affirmation of Shedeur all weekend long, as he himself was also waiting, man. Like, keeping the energy light. I love their family structure. From the outside looking in, obviously we don't know everything, but everything that I've seen from this past weekend lets me know that they are exactly who we believe that they were. And it's not a matter of posturing. They're not projecting, some level of faith and charisma. Like, that's really in their DNA. And with that running through their blood, I have no kind of expectation short of greatness for Shedeur Sanders and some goodness for Shiloh.
I will say, too, before we leave, I did not know that Dion was actually your agent. No, not a preacher.
Oh, he was a preacher at one point. He was in the pulpit. You remember that?
I was saying I did not know that he was their agent.
Is that real? Was that real?
Apparently so, because there's been clips where Dion is wanting to talk to general managers. I think when Shedeur was talking to the Browns, Dion was like, well, I want to talk to the general manager really quick. And then Shiloh, of course, said, my dad was my agent, but I had to go and get me an agent. And the agent actually came out and said, yeah, he just hired me today. And then he got the undrafted free agent deal.
That's interesting because you can't just be an agent. There's you got to take some classes. You got to get like a certification.
I know, and I'm just like,
to be an agent. I'm like, when did he do that?
If that would be very interesting if Deion Sanders was representing his sons and what he was saying to these people.
Yeah.
That would be
But so much to be said. Ooh, this is good. We're gonna tie this back.
Okay.
a black father, and we running long, I'm sorry, but a black father, once again, being penalized because his level of commitment to his son. We've seen it with Deion now. We've seen it with LeBron. We saw it with LeVar, right? These very vocal and boisterous fathers who are immensely proud of their sons and their sons' potential, who try to take care of the direction of their sons' careers, very much so like Arch Manning did 20 plus years ago. These men are looked at as a deterrent or an unattractive package to organizations and to leagues. And I'm looking forward to the day when that is no longer the case, especially considering some of the labels that get put on black fathers. I myself, I deal with it regularly and consistently. And so I think that anybody who says that, we don't want to draft Shedeur because we don't want to deal with his father is just, that kind of language makes me a little jaded.
Especially when your dad has accomplished what he has accomplished in that same sport.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
Yes.
Well, let's burrito this thing. Let's wrap it up. Man.
Yeah, we want to hear from you all. What was your initial reaction to Shedeur having to wait until day 3? And do you feel like Jeff Ulbrich is a lame? And should his father, Jeff, be penalized by the NFL? Drop down in the comments.